didn't he use his radio?
I think what?
Well, he's there checking out the Manson.
I am bloody scared.
No, just a few questions, sir. So, what happened to Mrs. Uphill? What is this? Worth money in the bank. Good teacher. You look half dead.
The man who created Jack Frost refused to watch the television series after the pilot. The first Frost novel was rejected by its publisher and sat unpublished for over a decade. And the southern English town where Frost worked was filmed almost entirely in West Yorkshire, in an industrial complex that has since been demolished. Behind 18 years of Sunday night drama and one of David Jason's greatest performances, the real story of A Touch of Frost is stranger, sadder, and more accidental than anyone watching ever realised. Secret 1: the author wanted Frost dead.
Sergeant Johnson says to tell you they've checked the local weirdos, and the only one they can't lay their hands on so far is Michael Hoskins.
Here's where the real story starts. When R.D. Wingfield sat down in 1972 to write the very first Frost novel, Frost at Christmas, he had no intention of creating a series. He intended to kill the character at the end of the book. The dishevelled, foul-mouthed, sardonic detective inspector Jack Frost was conceived as a one-shot, a character to be used once and disposed of, freeing Wingfield to return to the radio plays he genuinely loved writing. He was persuaded, reluctantly, to leave the ending open rather than commit to killing Frost outright. That single decision is the entire reason the franchise exists. Without it, there is no second novel, no third, no series of radio plays, no David Jason, no Sunday night television institution that ran for 18 years and 42 episodes. The most successful British detective drama of the 1990s rests, in the end, on a writer being talked out of murdering his own protagonist before anyone outside the publishing house had even read the book.
Why couldn't you wait until I got home?
Because we were told that you were here, and because the nature of our inquiries means that we can't waste time pissing about with niceties.
Secret 2, the book nobody wanted.
Were any of the others here on Sunday? Children, and a simple yes or no will do, and I don't want a bloody lecture.
Not children.
What makes the survival of Jack Frost even more improbable is what happened next. Frost at Christmas, the novel Wingfield had been commissioned to write by Macmillan Publishers with a £50 advance, was rejected by Macmillan the moment he delivered it. The character they had asked for and the character Wingfield had produced did not match. The book went into a drawer. It stayed there for over a decade. Frost at Christmas was finally published in 1984, not in Britain, but in Canada, as a cheap paperback by a small press. It did not appear in the United Kingdom until 1989, 17 years after it had been written. By then, Wingfield was 61 years old and had spent most of 2 decades being told, in effect, that nobody wanted his detective. Within 3 years of the British publication, a television company would offer him the kind of mainstream success most authors spend a lifetime hoping for. The journey from rejected manuscript to national television institution took almost 20 years.
How are they doing? Keeping up to scratch, are they?
Yes, they're rather good this year.
Must have a good teacher then, eh?
Secret 3. Frost lived on the radio first.
Might I see your identification?
Absolutely, sir. Quite right, sir. Constable, show the gentleman your nice new warrant card.
Before David Jason ever wore the scruffy raincoat, Jack Frost was a radio character. Wingfield had not given up on his rejected novel in the 1970s. He had simply moved it to a different medium. In 1977, BBC Radio 4 broadcast 3 Days of Frost, a serial adaptation of the still unpublished book. Wingfield had wanted Ronnie Barker in the lead. Barker was unavailable, and veteran character actor Leslie Sands took the role instead. 5 years later, in 1982, a second radio play simply titled A Touch of Frost was broadcast as part of Saturday Night Theatre, this time with Derek Martin in the lead. By the time David Jason came to the character in 1992, 2 completely different actors had already played Frost on radio. The original novel had been published in 2 countries, and the audience for a Frost television series had been quietly built over 15 years of radio listenership and slowly accumulating paperback sales. The television show that felt like an instant hit was, in production reality, the 3rd major attempt to make Jack Frost work.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
It's been sitting around here for God knows how long.
Secret 4. A holiday read changed everything.
Look, this hit and run, any chance that anyone could identify the driver?
Doubtful, sir. By all accounts, the car had tinted windows.
What audiences never knew is how David Jason actually found the character. By the late 1980s, Jason was one of the most successful comedy actors in Britain. Del Boy in Only Fools and Horses, Granville in Open All Hours, the affable face of light entertainment. He had also become quietly determined to break out of comedy and into serious drama, and was searching for the right vehicle. According to the Standard account, he found it on holiday. Jason took 3 detective novels away with him as holiday reading. One of them was A Touch of Frost. He read it, recognised immediately that the role was something he could do, and brought the book back to British television producers as the character he wanted to play. The series exists in that telling because of a stack of paperbacks chosen almost at random for a flight. The performance that won Jason 4 BAFTAs and changed the entire trajectory of his career came from a holiday read that happened to be in his bag.
The owner reckons that his car was nicked, so I want these details checked, double-checked and checked again.
Is it all right if I have a cup of tea first?
No, do it now.
Secret 5. The author refused to watch.
Send this over for you at last.
Anything else?
No, just Mr. Newman and your appointment at the town hall.
This is the secret that genuinely changes how you should think about the show. R.D. Wingfield, the man who created Jack Frost, did not enjoy the television adaptation. His public line was always polite. He had nothing against David Jason. He would say, Jason just wasn't his Frost. Privately, the position was harder. Wingfield watched the pilot episode in 1992 and then, by his own account, never watched another episode of A Touch of Frost again. His reasoning was specific and unsentimental. He had 4 more Frost novels to write, and he was determined not to let David Jason's television performance bleed into his own conception of the character. The book Frost was crude, frequently incompetent, foul-mouthed, and surrounded by a far darker version of the police station Wingfield had been writing about for 20 years. The television Frost was warmer, more morally serious, more conventionally heroic. Wingfield refused to attend Super Sleuths, the ITV appreciation programme about famous TV detectives, partly for the same reason. The most successful adaptation of his work was one he deliberately walled himself off from for the rest of his life. If you're enjoying this, it would mean a lot if you subscribed. It helps us keep making videos like this one. Just hit that button and you'll never miss a new one. And stay with us, because secret number 7 is a piece of casting almost no fan ever realised was hiding in plain sight for nearly 2 decades.
Why didn't he use his radio? Well, he's there checking out the Manson place. He sees the other car. Why didn't he use his radio?
Secret 6. Denton was Yorkshire in disguise. Anyone who watched A Touch of Frost closely will remember that Denton was meant to be in the south of England. References pile up across the episodes. Reading, Oxford, Swindon, the M4, journeys to Bishop Stortford, distances measured against Solihull. The whole geographical texture of the series points firmly south. The actual filming told a completely different story. A Touch of Frost was made by Yorkshire Television in Leeds, and nearly every exterior in the series was shot in West Yorkshire, in Wakefield, Pontefract, Castleford, Harrogate, Wetherby, and the surrounding small towns. The Denton railway station that featured in multiple episodes was Wakefield Westgate. The producers even slipped up on the postcodes. Denton's fictional DN postcode area is, in real life, the postcode for Doncaster, a fact they admitted as an error after eagle-eyed viewers spotted it. The southern English town millions of viewers thought they were watching was, in production reality, a careful Yorkshire forgery held together by location signs and careful camera angles. Secret 7. His brother was on the show.
Should be there 5 to 6 minutes, okay? Out.
Any chance you informing the family, Jack? You're the only copper they don't bite.
Well, it's not a deathogram, is it?
Not yet.
Here is the piece of casting that hid in plain sight for the entire run of the series. The character of Ernie Trigg. The old friend of Frost's with the encyclopedic memory for known criminals, the man who could rattle off names and methods and connections the police computer system could not match, was played by an actor named Arthur White. What audiences never knew was that Arthur White was David Jason's real-life older brother. Jason's birth name is David John White. Arthur White is his sibling. For years, viewers watched the two men share scenes. The warmth, the easy familiarity, the unforced sense of two people who had known each other for a very long time, without realizing they actually were two people who had known each other for a very long time. The chemistry that critics praised as exceptional acting was, in part, the simplest thing in television. Two brothers playing two old friends. Almost nobody outside the production ever joined the dots. Secret 8. A factory played the station.
What do you want me to do with Barnard?
What I want you to do, the Chief Constable wants you to continue his education.
Denton police station, the centre of nearly every episode of the first decade of the show. The building Frost walked in and out of, complained about, smoked outside of, and clashed with Superintendent Mullet inside, was not a police station at all. It was an industrial complex on Armley Road in Leeds, used by Farnell Electronics. The production simply dressed parts of it as a working police station for the duration of filming each year, then handed it back to the company for the rest of the time. The building has since been demolished. There is no plaque, no preserved frontage, no fan tour. The location where so much of one of Britain's most watched detective dramas was actually filmed simply no longer exists. People who delivered to Farnell Electronics during the show's run have written about the disorientating experience of arriving with a parcel and finding themselves on a working television set, occasionally being waved through by uniformed extras pretending to be Yorkshire police officers in a fictional Berkshire town. Secret 9. A factory of future stars.
Cody Landscapes, yeah. Guy Yard at Bishop's Lane. With accommodation over, I think. Excuse me.
One of the quieter cultural achievements of A Touch of Frost is what it did for the next generation of British actors. The show's casting department had an unusual habit of giving major early roles to young actors who would later become household names. Damian Lewis appeared in the show before Band of Brothers and Homeland made him a transatlantic star. Mark Warren appeared before Hustle. Jim Sturgis appeared before Across the Universe. Ben Daniels, Mark Letheran, Neil Stuke, Colin Buchanan, Matt Bardock and Jason Mazza all passed through Denton on the way to bigger careers. What's striking about the list is its consistency. A Touch of Frost was not occasionally lucky in its supporting cast. It was systematically excellent at spotting talent before anyone else did. Year after year, the production gave young, relatively unknown actors meaty scenes opposite David Jason, a co-star generous enough to share the screen rather than dominate it, and let them prove what they could do. A surprising proportion of the British acting profession in the 2010s and 2020s had their first serious television break in a Yorkshire industrial complex, pretending to be Denton CID. Secret 10. The end came twice.
Well, they're ahead of me.
Jack, they always are.
What gives the show its strange, melancholy shape in retrospect is how it ended, because it ended in different ways, twice. R.D. Wingfield was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2002. Knowing his time was limited, he began writing the sixth and final Frost novel, A Killing Frost. He completed it shortly before his death in July 2007. The book was published posthumously in April 2008. The author of the character died with one Frost novel still in manuscript and never saw it on a shelf. 14 months after Wingfield's death, in September 2008, David Jason announced that he was retiring from the role. His reasoning was that Frost would otherwise become the oldest detective on television, and Jason felt it was natural to let the character age out. The final episode, If Dogs Run Free, aired on the 5th of April 2010. The author had ended first by ill health. The actor ended second by choice. By the time the credits ran on that final episode, the character of Jack Frost had outlived his creator and been allowed by the man who played him to retire with dignity. Some characters are killed off, some are forgotten. Jack Frost was simply let go quietly, deliberately, and on his own terms. It is one of the rare endings in British television that genuinely earn the word grace.